Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are doing awesome. Here we are again. We are after the 4th of July. Don't know if you can believe it, but I can't believe it. Here we are, second part of the year, 2022. Before we get started, go ahead and share this. I want people to be able to have these tools and have this support. Tomorrow, I'm going to be sharing an infographic, which has this information to be able to see it. I'm a kinesthetic learner, visual learner, and auditory learner, but I definitely, when I see it, I can remember it even better. So look for this infographic tomorrow. But for today, we're going to actually go over it in some detail. Now, the idea is I want you to prepare yourself. I want you to grab a pen and paper, even though you're going to have the infographic tomorrow, so you can write it down. As you write it down, you begin to memorize these things. And these are going to be 8 ways to give yourself that freedom to make choices, so that analysis paralysis is not going to be locking you down, right? This is not just you, by the way. It's important to know this is stuff that's going on for a lot of people. Interestingly enough, talking about this topic actually has me feel it a little bit more. So I have to actually slow down and think more about what I'm going to be saying and doing, just because it's something that I've had to work with over my lifetime. All right, so go ahead. I'm going to do the same thing. Share this out. So I'm going to share it. It's in my group. I'm going to be sharing it to my page, and I'm going to be sharing it to my business page. So make sure that you're sharing this to other people, so that way they can get this information. They can come into the group. They can join the group. I have it open now. So if they join the group even right now, I'll be able to accept them. So let me make sure that we don't have any new folks coming in even right this second. And while we're waiting, what I'd love for you to do is just jot in the comments any particular areas that you feel like, you know what, this is an area that does get me stuck. This is an area that I do feel like, you know, when I try to make decisions, I just don't know what direction to go in. Just go ahead and jot them down. And my request is, you're in this group. This is a safe group. These are folks that are dealing with the same thing as you. So they're a part of this group because they want to shift out of negative thinking, and they want to shift out of negative habits, and they want to shift out of anything that's holding them down. So think about this group as a place where you can share your thoughts and share your questions and share support. Please do, anytime you want to add any posts that you think are helpful, because the idea is, as we see other people are dealing with these things and working through them, oh yeah, so can we. So I want to make sure that you're continuing to practice that and live into that. Okay, so nope, no members popped on right now. So all the others I have already accepted. So everybody's in. Now this is a private group, so when you're sharing it, you're going to need to share the link that is tinyurl.com/create-ease. That will get them to Freedom from Negative Thinking. And I'm probably going to be changing the name of the group to Anxiety Relief for Entrepreneurs. So keep a lookout for that change. Just because I've been learning some different things about social media, that is a more specific name to help people understand what the group is for. And it's not just for entrepreneurs, but since a big amount of you already are entrepreneurs, it just gets more specific into some of the topics that you guys are talking about. But the same things work for people who are working for somebody else, because technically you're doing a lot on your own, and you're going to have the same problems, the same questions. It just might look a little bit differently as you're working for an employer. So don't feel like if you're not an entrepreneur, you have to leave the group or you can't join. It's just some of the questions will be specifically addressing those concerns. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And as in with almost every session that I do, even though I put them in an order, I'm putting them in order just so you can keep tabs on the number that I'm putting here. They're not in a particular order, so one does not mean you have to address one first, but I try to put them in a priority order. So as you're looking at it, you can see, wow, number 1 is essential for me to use during every one of these other steps as well. And number 1 is to trust yourself and open up to all of your options. When you're stuck in analysis paralysis, the number 1 thing that is missing is trust. You are not trusting yourself. And within that, there is often huge amounts of fear. So help yourself to know what's going on. Help yourself to take a look at what is it that I'm afraid of, and write it down. Get it out of your head. Number one, get it out of your head. Well, this isn't number one to the number one. Get it out of your head. Ruminating on it, or all the different complications that you're trying to assess, it's too much in here. You can only hold 7 to 9 bits of information on a conscious level. Take your paper, jot it down. It will help you to get it out, right? That's the same thing I do with these points. I jot down my ideas, and then I start to change them, shift them, move them around. And you get what you get after I've had time to think it through. So when you're allowing yourself to take a look at what your options are, you're then able to get more creative. You're allowing your mind, which is a creative, absolutely creative, I don't want to say substance, but it's a creative platform. When you're allowing yourself to go, okay, so these are the ideas that I have. Oh, well, now that I have that written down, my mind is thinking through some stuff. Now that I'm no longer stressing this stuff, ruminating on it, I could see there's this option and that option and this option and that option, right? And I always ask Google, right? What else does Google think about this? Because Google is ideas of many people. So I take a look at that. It allows you to take a look at all of your options, whether or not you want them or not. So then you can go, oh, okay, cool. And this actually leads into number 2 and number 3 kind of together. So number 2 is ask others who've done this before. And so that's where you're looking at Google. That's where you're talking to other people. And if you're not sure, ask them, hey, I'm looking at this situation. Have you ever had to address this kind of situation before? And a lot of times you'll see that maybe it's not exactly what you're doing, but people have had to go through situations like it. So it gives you, the cool thing is, if it's not exactly yours, it gives you even more options to go, huh, so this could actually work in that kind of situation too. Never even thought about that. Okay, cool. So it's okay, even if you're just talking to somebody who's only been a parent their whole life, then you get to take a look and go, shoot, only a parent. I can't believe I was saying only a parent. As a parent, they have to be like the teacher. They have to be like the nurse. They have to be like the babysitter. They have to be like the counselor. They have to be, wow, they have done all these things. So there's times when we're limiting others just based on our own stuff, and that's normal. There's nothing wrong with it. As far as beating yourself up, don't do that. There is just a way to go, oh, well, I've got some limiting thoughts and some limiting beliefs. We do. That's just what we do as people. It happens. Give yourself a break, right? Give yourself a flipping break. And then this goes right into number 3. Also look at the pros and cons. So in doing this, this allows your creativity to start flowing. So for example, if I'm taking a look at making a choice and I say, okay, so if I make this choice, what could the outcome be that would work out? It could be this, and it could be this, and it could be that, and it could be this. Okay, cool. Well, what could the outcome be that it wouldn't work out? Well, it could be this, and it could be that, and it could be this, and it could be that. And then you can weigh them. Now, if you're biased, then you have to take a look at maybe your opinions and your experiences are not the best to look at. If, like me, you've come from a place of, in the past, not so much now because I've had a lot of new experiences, but when I was first getting started out, I had a negative perspective about a lot of things. And then on the other hand, I had this Pollyanna perspective that like, everything's going to be just fine. Right. And so that was because of the way I was raised. I was raised in a very harsh environment. And so for me to kind of cope through it, I just sort of tried to forget everything. And so it's like, everything's okay. Everything's just fine. I'm not even looking at that over there. Everything's okay. Everything's just fine. And so I had 2 different views, and neither one was the safest for myself, in making decisions. Now, if I'm making average decisions, there's not a lot of safety that I have to look at, then it's okay. Make a decision, see what happens. Okay, that didn't work. Great. But if there is something where you've got to take a look, is this going to, if I'm choosing a college or I'm choosing to buy a car or I'm choosing these things and I'm not looking at all the ideas and all of the options and all of the risks, I might make a very poor decision and have myself screwed for a very long time. So in those situations, and not always, by the way, did I ask for help, but in those situations, you really, 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 please learn from my experiences, ask for help. And you want to ask the proper people, ask the people who know, ask the people who've been there, not the ones who are making the same mistakes. Okay. And a mistake is a mistake. You're just going to learn from it, right? And so that actually goes into number 4. No matter what, unless you're dead, a mistake is just a mistake, right? Some of them, they will actually, there have been some mistakes we make where we die, right? Oops, I shouldn't have jumped, right? I thought if I jumped, I would hit the water, but no, I jumped and hit the rocks. Like, there's stuff we do, we don't know, and it can take our life. But if you're alive, that mistake is there for you to learn from. Now, some of them, like mistakes I've learned by partnering with the wrong person in a business, I had to pay for 10 years, literally. I literally had to pay out of my pocket. But I was in my 20s and I didn't, looking back, there were enough red flags that I could have known better, but I didn't, right? I thought I could trust this person because of things that I was seeing, but looking back now, I'm like, there's a lot of details I was missing out there. Wasn't asking, wasn't listening. And, you know, it happens. No, that was actually in my 30s, not my 20s. But I was still in a space of being like I was in my 20s as far as business-wise and making mature decisions. So yes, there are some times where the risk is going to be heavy, but you get to allow yourself to realize you're going to work through it. You're going to make wiser decisions. And did I ever make wiser decisions after that? And I asked different people, and I listened to even like in the past when somebody was saying don't do it, I was like, well, they don't got my best interest at heart. Sometimes even the person who seems like they don't have your best interest at heart, maybe they do, and maybe they're just not in the best place. So I just listened a little bit more. And so these are things I'm not just sharing with you because they're good ideas or I looked them up. I am sharing these with you because I had to learn them. And I am somebody who is an introvert, and I am somebody who has analysis paralysis. And so it was something that I really had to figure out. So these are not things I'm just sharing with you because it's a good idea. I'm sharing it with you because it works. And you get to have these tools. Oh, thank you for the hearts. You get to have these tools because they're essential for you, right? Okay. Now, if you're seeing how these can relate for you, if you're seeing how you can apply them or how you have applied them and they've really worked, please post in the comments what you're thinking, how this makes a difference, how you're going to apply it, or any thought, or hey, this just works out really well, or I love this, or this rings true, whatever it is. There is no bad comment or stupid question. I'll actually go back and I'll make sure to address any questions that you ask or any comments that you post. So if you're watching on the replay, then please do put them in there as well. All right, number 5. So oftentimes when people have an opinion, they don't realize their opinion is just an opinion. They have it like that's the truth and you're supposed to do what they say. Even in these things that I'm sharing with you, if you want to follow them, it's totally up to you. It's your life. If you want to learn everything the harder way by learning through experience, you absolutely can. It's my opinion based on my life and my experience and through the clients that I've helped that these things do work. And it's also based on some facts now, as I've also grown through it and my clients have grown through it. So it's not just an opinion anymore. But a lot of people do not have facts. They just have, well, this worked for me, so it has to be true. But that's not always the case. What works for me might not work for somebody else. But because I have shared with others over and over and over and over again now, hundreds of times, I now see that it is also fact in most cases. And it's also fact that if they don't want to listen, they don't have to. They have free will and they can learn the hard way, just like I did. Like I said, in most cases, we're not going to die. It's just going to hurt a lot. And pain is just part of our lives. It's part of growing. It's part of saying, oop, don't want to touch that because that hurts, right? Or if I do touch it, I'm going to touch it in a certain way so that way it doesn't hurt. So number 5 is being aware that everyone has an opinion and an opinion is not always factual. Now, an opinion can grow to be factual, just like I'm sharing with you. I've learned those things and I've practiced those things. And I've also seen that others have verified those same things, and other coaches and other therapists and other counselors and other doctors and other teachers and other parents and people who have done these same things. So it's not just my opinion. It's actually through facts of practicing over and over and over and over again, right? So it's being able to see doing this thing creates this result, and this is what you can do with it. And you can totally do whatever you want. both of those are true. So it helps you to take a look and see that if somebody has an opinion that they still believe is the right way, or they have the truth that is totally the right way, you can just say, that's okay. That's the right way for you. That's probably the right way I should be doing it. However, this is the way I want to try to do it. Because how is it that we can create something brand new unless we try something that's brand new? And so you might come up with the better idea, but because it's not a fact yet, nobody knows. So it kind of goes back to number one, trusting yourself to open up to all of the options by helping yourself and others to understand, hey, that's your thought on it. And that's okay. You can have that thought on it. I don't want to have it imposed on me, and that's okay. And so it lets you breathe, being able to have your experience, being able to have what it is that you need and what it is that you're doing. All right, cool beans. So now we're going to take a look at number 6. And this is a big one. Sometimes you might do the same thing as the person in number 5. You might get it into your mind that this is the way. I've looked at all of the options. I've asked other people. I allowed myself to see that mistakes give me space to grow. Okay. And now I've got this way is the way. Be careful, because there's lots of ways to still do the same thing. And you might limit yourself when you could learn another way, and it could be even better. So allow yourself to take a look at, it's okay if I change my mind. You might be around people that change is hard. And so it's important to remind them, hey, it's okay if you change your mind about things. It's okay if I change my mind about things. And when I said it at the time, it was 100% what I believed and what I felt. And I'm shifting into this new thought, and I want to share with you where I'm at, and we're moving forward. So it's helping you to see that what you had decided on was just an opinion. A lot of facts that we decide are facts. For example, I think there was a law, and I'm not 100% sure if this was an actual law or if it was just something that was going on at the time in a particular city where you weren't allowed to hold hands. You weren't allowed to kiss out in the open, right? I'm pretty sure it was some kind of mandate. I don't know if it was a law, but that's not the thing anymore. But if you go to that particular place, it's still the thing. It hasn't been changed, but nobody abides by it anymore. So it's important to notice that if there is a fact that you come to find out is not correct or is no longer fitting, then it's okay to talk with others to change your mind, to change the agreement, to change whatever it is, but be on the same page as them. Don't just jump at them. If you have an agreement and a commitment with them, that's a little bit different. If you're changing your mind and changing your thought, you still have a commitment that you made. That's not the same. So you want to pay attention and discuss it with the other person. And you might have to stick to the old way until your commitment is done to whatever that is. Now, if you're talking about something that's a lifetime commitment, then there's a whole other thing. Then there has to be this new discussion of how can we compromise this if there's space to compromise, right? So there's a lot of different things you can bring into this. So do ask if you have any questions of exceptions and things like that. But this overall is a general template of how you can follow what you need to do to keep yourself out of analysis paralysis. Now, if there is something you've committed to that's a lifetime thing, or something that you're in a place where this is the commitment of this place I've decided to be in, then we get to have a conversation about what's your thought on it, what's your flexibility with it, what's the new commitment that you can make, what's the new conversation that you can have, all of those different things to help create this new space to pull you out of analyzing, because analyzing isn't allowing you to take action. Taking action moves you into that new space, but we also have to take action appropriately. We can't just crap on people. And you can't just crap on yourself or your values or things like that. You've got to be able to do this in a way where you still feel healthy and where you're being healthy to those around you. Okay. All right. So number 7. So as you're in that space of allowing yourself to make change, as you're in that space to realizing that everybody has an opinion and it's okay, as you're in that space of weighing the pros and cons, as you're in that space of asking others for, how did you do this before? And as you're being open to those options, you want to be able to stand strong in whatever your opinion is or whatever your decision is that you come up with, right? And being able to stand strong, even in saying, well, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm okay with trying this way first, right? It gives you room to breathe, guys. Stop putting all this weight on yourself, all this pressure, all this, it has to be one way. It gives yourself room to say, okay, so I'm trying this one first. So it gives you and the other person room to go, okay, so there's other options here. We're just going to see what this result is. We're going to try it out. Same thing. I'm practicing social media, right? And I'm practicing what works and what doesn't. And, I really want to know what works. I don't want to practice all this stuff, but it's life. That's how it goes. It's how it's got to work. Unless somebody comes up with something better that could work better, this is how it's got to work for now. And believe me, I'm looking for better. I'm looking to be open to new opportunities and new options because I don't like it. I don't want to test the waters. I want to know what works. I want to be able to reach people to the fullest without floundering into trying this and trying that and trying that. But it is what it is. And so sometimes we got to flounder around a little bit to figure out what's going to work. And floundering around doesn't have to be, right? Just like you're turning up the water to find where it's appropriate, where warm is good for you. You might not feel like you're floundering because you know exactly what to do. You just turn the knob. Well, in some things, you've never done it before. So you might feel like, oh my gosh, I've never done this before. I don't know what to do. What's the step? What's this? What's that? What's that? Sometimes it's actually figuring out what the step is the first floundering part. And sometimes you're floundering the whole time because it's all brand new. And you're around people who maybe it's brand new for them too. And it takes you a little bit to find that person who's done it before. So giving yourself room to be in the tension of it's uncomfortable. A lot of times we run from that like the plague. Let yourself be uncomfortable. Let yourself know that being in that uncomfortable tension is actually what you need. Hey there, Tony. Tony says yes. And a heart. Oh, thank you. Hearts to you, sweetheart. Okay, so what you want to do, continue to review over those. You're going to be seeing the infographic. And then the last thing we're going to be taking a look at is you want to be able to review the possible outcomes and run it by others. So once you've gotten some of these outcomes, you can run them by others who have also been through it before, or maybe they haven't, maybe they've done something like it, or maybe it's your team, but otherwise you're just getting ideas. So let's say this is what's going on, these are your results, and you're like, well, based on what I'm looking at, any one of these could work. So how do I know for sure what's going to be the most effective? Then you kind of go back up again. You look at what's the pros and cons you saw before. Did they change? Is something else leading, guiding? What did you learn as you went through the process? What did you learn about, as you were being creative and you were thinking on it? What did you learn about when you were allowing yourself to change your mind? Did you change your mind on some things? Then there's some new pros and cons to look at. And so then you're taking a look, okay, so if these are the possible outcomes, and what if they're all the same? Then just like what I was saying with the social media, you can do something that's called split testing. Test this out first for a certain amount of time, 4 weeks maybe, or 1 week, 1 day, depends on what you're doing. It could be a conversation. Hey, I want to test out how this conversation sounds with you. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do. My intention, have a clear intention, is to create this, right? So create connection, create communication, create clarity, create more customers, create understanding my finances, create understanding what I'm afraid of, whatever it is, that's your intention. So you allow yourself to go through practicing whatever this is. So if you're practicing having communication with a friend, if you're practicing going out on a date, if you're practicing a particular dating app, if you're practicing, what it is that you want to do for your health, see what it is. See what it's going to be. Try it on. And then as you're running it by others, you might not even ask the other person what they're thinking. You might just run it by them and see what their response is. That helps you to see how it works. Now, you might want to try it with more than one person because different people respond in different ways. And so that gives you an idea to go, oh, okay, so this actually does work, but with people that kind of think like this and respond like this, it doesn't work. Yeah? Okay. So those are my 8 points. And as you're going through that process, it just squashes that analysis paralysis that's going on because you're taking action. You're stepping into these things and there's no paralysis that even needs to linger. because paralysis is coming from fear, and I don't know what to do, and I'm afraid of the consequence, and all of that stuff. And each person's a little bit different. So if you have different thoughts that you're having, you can share them with me, and we can actually talk about that particular analysis, paralysis fear that you're throwing yourself into. Confirmation. So practice these 8 steps. Practice allowing yourself to trust yourself, being open to what others have done, weighing the pros and cons. Do this. Don't tell yourself you will. Don't try to do it all in your head. Do it on paper. That gets it out of your head. Think about it like a whiteboard. When you've got it all in your head, the whiteboard is full and overflowing. But when you write it down on the piece of paper, you now created a whiteboard here on the piece of paper. So the whiteboard is now clear for new information. Continue to practice it like that. And if it gets full again, then you have a second whiteboard you're going to write down on a piece of paper. And so then you have those two pieces of paper that you're looking at. Then you've got a clean whiteboard again. These pieces of paper can't create, but within your mind, you can. So keep it clear by writing it down and getting it out of your conscious mind, because what happens is your subconscious houses all of your information. Like, think about it like the computer hard drive. And what's in front is the desktop. Have you had your desktop full of icons? And it's just like, I don't even know. Now, some people can do that just fine. People like me, I get into overwhelm very easily. So I have to take it, clear off the desktop, put all that into one folder. And I do that a million times. And then I shift that folder into the full folder. So the idea is you're keeping that desktop, that forefront, clear to be able to draw and put stuff and see. And the brain is amazing. It's the best computer you'll ever come across. And so it can create, it can think, it can, all of your synapses are firing and juices are flowing and ideas from what you're hearing and asking are coming in. Ooh, I like it, I like it, I like it. Let me write it all down. Okay, cool, I've got some more room. Okay, so I see this and how's that gonna work? And I'm asking this, then pros and cons of this. And I'm allowing myself to look at people's opinions. No, it doesn't work here, it does work there, doesn't work here, doesn't work there. No, it's just their opinion. Removing any pressure that they wanna put on, letting them take their pressure. No, we're not doing that. That's just your thought and your opinion. I appreciate it. I love it. Wrote it down here. That's it. Don't have to take it on, just like you don't have to take on my thoughts and my opinions. All right, cool. Feeling really good. Creating. Feel how good that feels, how flowing that is. That's what you create. And it automatically fills in that space for analysis paralysis to just not even be there, because you've already filled in what you're going to do instead. So it's been a pleasure to be here with you, to guide you through this. If there's any specific area, specific challenge, please do let me know. Samantha says paralysis comes from fear. Love that. Yes, 100%. Hey, Sam, so good to see you. And the cool thing is once you're allowing yourself to feel good, once you're allowing yourself to practice these things, so much opens up for you. And you're continuing to grow and level up and feel amazing. All right, so you guys take care of you. Know that I'm here every Wednesday, and then Thursday you'll see the infographic of everything that I talked about. So make sure you get in there and you get that infographic for yourself so you're able to see and look at that information, because it'll help you to remember it more. And when you come to it, it's easy. Oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. You take care of you. What do we always do? Bring it in. Big squishy hugs. You take care of you. Ciao for now, and bye.